This little collector's item here dates back a few hundred years to the British Indian colonial period, proving only that sometimes the least likely objects can be filled with the most likely horror. Our painting is called a doll.
And this one you does not play with.
Watchtower has a long and sordid history with children's play dolls. An Awake from 1988 depicts a child holding what is obviously a Cabbage Patch doll. Even though they don't show its face, the message is clear. In a 1984 Watching the World segment, Doll Mania, they ask why the demand? Because each doll's face is different from that of any other due to computer design, hence making it a one-of-a-kind doll. In 2013, with the launch of its animated series, Caleb and Sophia, Watchtower introduced new role models for its children to idolize. These religious-based characters are always depicted as conducting themselves with spiritual activities, from proselytizing to praying. The June 2008 Awake article, More Than Just Toys, quotes the New World Book Encyclopedia stating, most doll-like figures from earlier periods were magical or religious objects, not toys. The Awake article goes on to say that in many cultures, dolls were associated with fertility rites, and some dolls were used to advertise a girl was of marriageable age. Considering Watchtower's child abuse addiction and their move to build secluded media production facilities, one can only imagine what they're animating behind closed doors. The Washington Post lamented, like the tobacco industry of old, the entertainment and toy industries generally deny any responsibility and are unlikely to make any changes on their own. Clearly, parents need to assume responsibility. However, the toy company Mattel, maker of the world-famous Barbie dolls, sponsored a study on the benefits of doll play for children.
Playing with dolls helps children develop empathy. That's what neuroscientists at Cardiff University in the UK found out in the latest study published on Thursday. The scientists wanted to know what brain areas were active when kids play in different ways. With neuroimaging technology, the team was able to scan brain activity when children play with dolls versus creative play on a tablet, both by themselves and with playmates. Here's Dr. Sarah Gerson.
So what we found is that a particular area of the brain that's known to be important for kind of understanding other people and empathy, so understanding other people's emotions, was active when children were playing with dolls. And it was active both when children played with dolls with another person, a kind of playmate, and when they played with dolls on their own.
But when the children play on a tablet by themselves, the same social processing brain area was not active.
In the publication, Knowledge That Leads to Everlasting Life, page 114, it states that even if you've not practiced Spiritism, get rid of anything having to do with Spiritistic uses. This includes books, magazines, video posters, musical recordings, and objects. Also included are idols. Keep in mind, the definition of Spiritism is based on the idea that alongside this physical reality, a spirit world exists. In its debut episode, the Caleb and Sophia cartoon introduces a situation where Caleb brings home a doll that reflects what Watchtower would call Spiritism. Caleb's mom explains to him the toy is demonic because it is based upon magic, and that he'll have to get rid of it. But she then goes on to promote spiritual practices of her own for both Caleb and the viewer to absorb.
How was school today?
Fine. Look at Sparlock's magic
Caleb, what toy is that?
It's Sparlock, the warrior wizard.
Whoa, a warrior wizard.
Yeah, my friend gave it to me. All the kids are going to see the movie. Can I see it too?
Oh, your friend gave this to you. Is this toy magical?
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, who likes magic? Jehovah or Satan?
Satan.
Right. Magic is bad. That's why Jehovah hates it. Do you really want to play with something that Jehovah hates? So what do you think you should do with this toy?
Watchtower dismisses one spirit-based object, only then to introduce its own.
Spirit-based object.
Watchtower is obsessed with the idea of possession. They would have their parishioners believe that not only are the leaders under possession, but you, as a believer, can too also be under the influence of what Watchtower describes as an active force.
When I was growing up as a young child, I shared a room with my little brother. And, my little brother could not go to sleep at night unless the closet door was left open and a light was on in the closet, because he was convinced that a monster lived in the closet. Now, as an adult, we think of that as somewhat ridiculous. We know that an imaginary monster can't hurt us. But to a child, he could be very real.
Can a doll really become possessed with the spirit of Jehovah? Consider this. Amongst Jehovah's Witnesses, there's long been a legend that sometime in the early 80s, during a midweek meeting at a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, a child brings with him a Smurf doll.
With the family sitting near the front row, the child positions the Smurf doll next to him. Shortly after the opening song, observers begin to notice a shift in the doll's face. When the speaker on the stage invokes the name Jehovah, the doll springs to life, leaping out of its seat. The Smurf doll, now completely animated, walks down the aisle, glaring at the congregation of attendees. As the Smurf made its way to the door, observers say the doll could be heard screaming only one phrase as it exited the Kingdom Hall.
Hail Jehovah!
Then there's the infamous story of Annabelle, a true-life crime story of a possessed Raggedy Ann doll, haunted by the spirit of Annabelle Higgins. Annabelle often shows up in Watchtower literature as an Easter egg for its more initiated members. Since Watchtower can demonize everything from Smurfs to Cabbage Patch dolls, some may wonder how a Raggedy Ann doll survived Armageddon into this New World illustration. In a Washington Post article, it states, historians generally trace the anti-vaccine movement to a number of 19th century groups, including religious activists, radical libertarians, and health faddists. It also says that their most visible symbol was a smiling but entirely limp Raggedy Ann doll. Created by a popular cartoonist for his daughter who had fallen ill and would later die, he believed, from a smallpox shot she received without his permission.
I'm sorry. There's not much more that I can do for Nancy.
Doctor, that doesn't mean that...
No. But the best doctor in the world for her right now would be the sun.
Consider for a moment Zoom meetings, physical distancing, face masks, pre-recorded convention programs, phone witnessing, letter writing. In this past year, wouldn't you agree that we have received a lot of very specific direction from the branch office, from the governing body? Well, all of it has directly affected our lives. So the question is this: do we have the confidence that Jehovah is behind it all?
Watchtower's hypocrisy has come full circle, with Jehovah's Witnesses now making their own Caleb and Sophia dolls. Even the world's most famous Jehovah's Witness, Serena Williams, created and then marketed a doll for her daughter Olympia.
Serena Williams' 1-year-old daughter has brought her doll along to the Australian Open, and now the internet is going crazy for Quay Quay.
When people call you extra, just look them in their face and say, am I extra or are you basic?
The Quay animation is produced by the entertainment company Invisible Universe, which produces celebrity-backed animated characters.
Now it's animation time! Animators make 3D people come to life. First, they study people. Then they can make 3D people do the same thing.
Some of the best athletes in the world are right here in this room. Some of the strongest, fastest, and most skilled people ever are right here. And if I've learned anything this year, it's that none of us, not a single one of us,
Not even me,
should ever pick a fight with Kendrick Lamar.
In a collaboration with Sam Moran, in a song entitled Bitty Bomb, Sam instigates a song and dance routine with random people in a park setting. He then decides to disappear from the crowd to a secluded section of the park. After checking that no one was around, he proceeds to open a magical hidden door to the invisible universe. And to his surprise, he finds a love doll.
I'm a grown woman.
And the lyrics state, "When you're all alone, you'll be all right."
If I may, I was thinking about, and I've mentioned this in interviews before, I was thinking about a scripture in Isaiah 65. It's a prophecy. And it's a prophecy about the times that we're living in today, when there would be what some might call a spiritual famine. And while many people are still spiritual, and we love them for that, and many people are
groping to find God,
we'll be better equipped in this 21st century to reach everyone because of the training that we've received, the forced training that we've received.
Considering the current spotlight on Jehovah's Witness child sex abuse, could Watchtower be innovating new products and services for their clients?
What the organization has done in many of these areas is provided what we call JW Box. And it's a very interesting device. It is a box. It's got a commercial router inside of it. And the software has been developed by the organization. The box costs about $75. It's really provided incredible service to
our brothers.
Of course, when you think about the organization, it does all of this, and of course there's no profit motive.
Could Watchtower be demonizing certain dolls to create fearful children that lack empathy, while simultaneously promoting dolls that encourage imitating their God Jehovah's attitude?
You don't have to love me. You don't even have to like me. But you will respect me. You know why? 'Cause I'm upset.